What if I told you your greatest weakness isn't real, it's manufactured? That the exhaustion, confusion, and emptiness you feel aren't signs of failure, but evidence of a plan carried out long before you were born? They didn't just take your history, they locked your energy. And the strangest part? You've been carrying the key the entire time. You were told to chase purpose, to find yourself, when in truth, yourself was sealed, deliberately. Ancient systems knew the human spirit could bend reality, so they wrapped that truth in silence. Over generations, fear replaced wisdom, and obedience replaced power. But that hidden energy inside you, it never died. It's only waiting for someone bold enough to remember. And maybe that's you. Maybe the reason you felt a pull toward the unseen, the dreams, the synchronicities, the flashes of déjà vu, is because your soul recognizes the pattern. It knows something was taken, and it's time to reclaim it. But to do that, you'll need to understand the truth that's been buried for centuries, what the forbidden seal really is, and why they feared you ever discovering it. You came into this world carrying a spark of something extraordinary, a sealed power that once flowed freely through ancient souls. But long ago, this hidden energy was quietly locked away. Not through chance or mistake, but by design. Systems were built, rituals performed, and agreements made to ensure humanity would forget its original strength. The result? You've been walking through life with the volume of your own light turned down. When you look around, it's easy to feel like something's missing, like you're meant for more but can't quite reach it. That subtle frustration, that quiet ache for something greater, is the echo of your sealed power calling from beneath layers of conditioning. The ancients understood this force, they knew how potent it was, and they feared what might happen if everyone remembered who they truly are. So they wrapped it in stories, dogmas, and fear, until the truth turned invisible. You can feel the forbidden seal even if you can't see it. It hides not in chains or prisons, but in habits, beliefs, and emotional imprints passed down through generations. Every time someone silenced their intuition, every time a child was taught to obey before they could dream, the seal tightened. And yet, the seal was never meant to last forever. Energy is patient, not dead. It waits for recognition, for the moment you remember to look inward again. Imagine it like an ancient vault inside your chest, one that hums faintly when you meditate, breathe deeply, or stand in awe of life. That's the pulse of your hidden energy, still alive, still waiting. The ones who locked it away never destroyed it, they just made sure you'd have to earn your remembrance. Because the moment you start to question who placed the seal and why, you're already on the path to discovering what the forbidden seal of the ancients truly is. The forbidden seal isn't a myth, it's a sophisticated mechanism that once kept humanity's hidden energy dormant. Think of it as a spiritual firewall, encoded into your very being. Esoteric traditions speak of this seal as both protection and imprisonment. It was placed there to contain divine energy until we were ready, though some would argue it was more about control than readiness. Over time, this sealed power became forgotten, buried under the noise of modern life and the illusion that we're just physical beings. Many ancient cultures hinted at it through symbols, the serpent biting its tail, the lotus still closed, the eye half covered by shadow. Each symbol whispered of a secret humanity wasn't meant to forget. The forbidden seal was not just a barrier, it was a test. To break it, one had to evolve, to rise above fear, ego, and blind faith. It's why so many sacred texts speak in riddles, the knowledge was hidden in plain sight, accessible only to those willing to feel instead of just believe. You might notice its presence in your own life, that strange resistance every time you step toward your purpose. You plan, you try, you push, and something unseen pushes back. It's not bad luck or procrastination, it's the seal. It sits in the energy centers that govern your sense of power, the solar plexus, the heart, even the base of the spine. When blocked, you might feel disconnected, heavy, or unable to manifest with clarity. The forbidden seal keeps the current of creation just out of reach. But here's the paradox, the seal that limits you is also the key to your awakening. Every challenge, every inner struggle, every moment you've faced your own shadow has been part of the process to remember your true authority. The ancients knew this: once you break the seal, your energy can no longer be contained. The question is, how can you tell if your power is still sealed? Sometimes the signs are so subtle that you mistake them for ordinary exhaustion. You sleep, eat well, take care of yourself, and yet, a deep fatigue lingers, like your soul is tired of waiting. That's not laziness or burnout, it's the vibration of sealed power pressing against invisible walls. When your hidden energy is blocked, you can't seem to plug in to life fully. Everything feels just slightly out of sync, like a song played in the wrong key. You'll also notice patterns that repeat themselves, relationships that mirror the same wounds, dreams that recycle the same themes, opportunities that always seem to slip through your fingers. This isn't bad luck. It's feedback. The forbidden seal uses repetition to make sure you notice what's been suppressed. For example, someone who constantly doubts their intuition might be carrying an ancestral imprint that once punished spiritual sensitivity. The seal, in that sense, becomes a teacher wearing the mask of frustration. There's also that quiet fear of your own potential, the moment you feel a surge of inspiration, and then suddenly backtrack, thinking, who am I to do this? That hesitation is one of the most obvious signs of the seal's grip. You might even feel physical sensations, a knot in your stomach, tightness in your chest, or trembling when you try to express yourself. These are energetic alarms, reminders that your inner current is trying to move through locked pathways. And then there are the dreams, vivid, strange, often ancient. People see chains, doors, golden keys, or temples buried under sand. These are not random symbols, they're encrypted messages from your subconscious, calling you back to remembrance. If you've ever woken up feeling like you just lived another life, it's because part of you did. But to truly decode these signs, you have to understand how this seal has survived across time, and why it's still active today. The forbidden seal didn't survive by accident, it was carefully maintained like a secret recipe passed down through generations. Families, societies, and entire cultures unknowingly carried the codes that reinforced the seal. It wasn't always done with malice, sometimes it was fear, sometimes misunderstanding. But trauma, shame, and silence became the perfect soil for the sealed power to stay buried. Each time someone swallowed their truth to fit in, the hidden energy sank a little deeper. External authorities, from religious leaders to political systems, discovered that controlling belief was easier than controlling bodies. By shaping rituals, rewriting calendars, and redefining symbols, they severed humanity from its original timeline of power. You can still see the traces: holidays disconnected from their true roots, languages stripped of their vibrational meaning, sacred geometry reduced to decoration. These weren't coincidences, they were calculated ways to keep the collective asleep. Even personal stories played a part. Think of your grandparents' generation, for example. How often were children told, "Don't speak of such things," or "That's not real"? That silencing created ripples. Over decades, those ripples became waves. The forbidden seal was maintained not just through grand conspiracies but through everyday interactions where people traded truth for safety. It became so normal that the seal started to look like culture itself. And yet, in hidden corners, fragments of ancient knowledge survived. Secret texts, folk songs, and whispered rituals held pieces of the map back to our sealed power. Even now, people are waking up to their lineage of hidden energy, realizing their fatigue and self-doubt aren't personal failures but inherited imprints. And once you recognize that this seal was never just personal but collective, you start to sense how breaking it isn't a solitary act, it's a return to something your ancestors dreamed of. But how do you actually break a seal that's been reinforced for centuries? Breaking the forbidden seal isn't about force, it's about alignment. The first step is breath, because breath is the original language of energy. When you breathe deeply and consciously, you begin to loosen the knots where sealed power hides. A simple practice: place a hand over your solar plexus or heart, inhale slowly for a count of 4, hold for 2, exhale for 6. Do this daily and you'll start to feel subtle shifts, like cracks forming in an old wall. Visualization is another key. The mind is the sculptor of energy, and your imagination can dissolve locks older than memory. Picture a golden light spiraling into your core, melting any chains around your hidden energy. Imagine it flowing down to your base, rising up to your heart, then expanding like sunlight breaking through clouds. This isn't wishful thinking, it's a neurological reprogramming of the patterns that reinforced the seal in the first place. Words carry vibration too. Speaking affirmations out loud reclaims authority over your inner space. Instead of vague mantras, try specific ones. I reclaim my sealed power, the forbidden seal dissolves in my truth, my hidden energy flows freely now. Say them in the mirror, before sleep, or during walks. The point is to create sound waves that rewrite the internal script. Over time, your nervous system stops bracing against your own power and starts welcoming it back. And don't underestimate connection with your lineage. Dream work, journaling, or reading sacred texts from your ancestry can reveal missing pieces. Some people find books like the Kybalion or The Power of Now act as triggers, unlocking inner memories they didn't know they had. Others connect through ritual, movement, or nature. Breaking the seal is like tuning an instrument, each practice fine-tunes your energy until your original melody plays again. When this happens, something extraordinary begins to unfold, the first taste of what happens when the seal is truly broken. When the forbidden seal dissolves, the first thing people notice isn't fireworks, it's ease. Energy flows without effort, like a river finally freed from a dam. Suddenly, the things that felt impossible or too much become natural. Creativity stops feeling like a struggle, ideas arrive fully formed. You stop asking for permission to exist, to create, to speak. Your sealed power is no longer hidden energy, it's your everyday state. Your intuition sharpens, almost like a sixth sense waking up after a long sleep. You begin to notice coincidences lining up, people appearing at the right time, doors opening with little push. Gifts you thought were lost, healing hands, vivid dreams, magnetism, return in waves. It's not that you become someone else, it's that you finally inhabit who you always were. And the best part? The world starts responding differently to you because your frequency has changed. This shift also changes how you lead. Authority no longer comes from ego, but from soul fire. You don't need to control others or prove your worth, your presence speaks for itself. People feel it. They trust you without knowing why. Opportunities that once slipped through your fingers now seem to orbit around you. It's the difference between chasing life and drawing it toward you. That's the quiet revolution of unlocked power. And there's a reason this state was feared by those who maintained the seal. A person who's remembered their true power can't be manipulated the same way. They're sovereign, magnetic, and contagious in the best sense. Once your sealed power is free, you become a living example of what others can be too. And that's when you realize, everything you went through, every obstacle, was preparing you for this moment, the moment to step fully into the force they tried to hide. If everything you've read here resonated with that quiet ache inside you, it's because your sealed power is already stirring. The forbidden seal isn't some distant myth, it's a living pattern you can feel, shift, and finally dissolve. The practices you've learned are not rituals for later, they're invitations to act now. Your hidden energy is waiting for you to breathe it, speak it, and live it back into motion. So ask yourself, what would your life look like if you stopped fearing your own light? If the resistance you felt was no longer there, how much could you create, heal, lead? Who might you become if the forbidden seal inside you broke today? Those aren't just reflective questions, they're doorways. The answers will shape the way your energy moves from this point forward. This is your moment to remember. You've walked through lifetimes of silence, but the seal is cracking. Lean into the practices, experiment with them, and watch your reality start to shift. You're not becoming powerful, you're rediscovering what was always yours. If this message sparks something in you, don't let it fade. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you won't miss the next steps of this journey. Together, we'll explore the knowledge they tried to bury, and unlock the power you've carried all along.